were made of compressed wood and nearly plastic, if you want, and they are lightweight compared with the whole metal props for aircraft like the P-51 or the Corsair or some of the other warbirds.
Well, I've just been asked to remind you that this is your very last opportunity to get your official Flying Legends calendar and your book Air to Air signed by John Romain, Lee Proudfoot and Paul Bonhomme. They're all round the back there waiting for you for the next 10 minutes or so. So last chance to get your Flying Legends calendar signed, and also the John Dibbs's book Air to Air, which was launched.
If not in the air and not with a big airflow going inside the radiators, which are located under the wings. That's because when you're in the ground, the propeller slipstream is not powerful enough to cool down the radiator. If you look at them, you see that the radiators are quite thin. In fact, they're under the wings, one per wing, but on the very early Mark 1s, which have only one radiator. And in fact, if you're not airborne within 7 or 8 minutes, well, you're at risk of boiling the engine, and that's quite expensive, you know, boiling a Merlin or a Griffon engine makes a bad day. So they're all taxiing. Taxiing a Spitfire is a bit of a nightmare. The first time you fly the aircraft, you find out that the tailwheel is entirely free to swivel from left to right, right to left, and so you guide the aircraft on the ground using the aerodynamic controls and mostly the rudder. That's why you see the rudders being moved from left to right, right to left, left to right, according to the dancing of the pilot's legs on the pedals. That's the only way you can taxi a Spitfire. Of course, you can help yourself by using the brakes. And on the Spitfires, the brakes are quite exotic in that you don't brake like in American aircraft of the era by pushing on.
What a wonderful sound, though, that mixture of Griffons and Merlins.
Up front you have a diamond of 4 formation of four Griffon engine Spitfires. The Griffon engine was a very big engine, same architecture than the Merlin engine, which was smaller. The Griffon was a 35-liter V12 engine, while the Griffon was a 27 liters V12 engine, both from Rolls-Royce, and both derived from racing engines developed during the famous Schneider Trophy, of which we will say a few things later. First, the 4 Griffons. Then the Merlin. 3 aircraft, all small engine, Merlin engine, and the other one, the second axis is materialized by the hard surface runway, which is a few hundred yards away from us. Not that far though. The Griffin, flown by the pilot, Mr. Schofield. A hell of a good aviation writer.
Lovely elliptical shaped wings, but we have got a few clip wing items here, and that was introduced to, I believe, to...
It's beautiful to look at, complicated to build, of course, but from the beginning they were thinking about having a clipped wing version of the aircraft, a more efficient version at low height, and it's important to remember that this elliptical wing, which is beautiful of course, was also aerodynamically speaking probably the best, the most efficient shape. And remember that the fastest speed ever from something like 30,000 feet just pushed to the vertical and kept the throttle wide open just to see what would happen. And finally at Mach 092, I think, the prop went away without prop, and its balance was completely upset, of course, and on its own it went up and out of the dive and a very high-speed capabilities. But of course it's also one of the most beautiful shapes I have flown.
Mitchell himself didn't seem to appreciate the poetry of the elliptical wing.
He didn't care about the name of the aircraft.
No, exactly. No. He thought it was a silly name.
Yeah. When he heard that they were going to call somebody and decided the current probably decided to call 1940. Taxiing down, we've got one of the most famous surviving Spitfire today, former Ray aircraft probably the only Spitfire, original Spitfire.
Unrestored.
Unrestored.
Yeah. It's heavily maintained, of course, but not. It's not been stripped down and restored. Still as it was. It's got battle history. More or less exactly the same as it was.
There's another one which is interesting. It's a Maxi Gator. It's the one with the Mark 8 with the Merlin engine, and you'll recognize it when taxiing because of the red letters on the fuselage. And this aircraft was delivered to Australia right after the war, brand new, in a box. And the Australians just flew it a few hours because they had nothing to do after the war, exactly, with a Spitfire. And then they dismantled it and put it back in the box.